I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
The 11th house, the house of regulated intention, of knitted structures, of nets and knots, networks, complex economies, and even empires. The house of macrosystems, both visible and less so. Systems built upon extensive communities of systems, those regulated and those allowed to experience their own creation. The 11th house lives beside the etheric catalyst of the 12th house, in which we receive, acquire, and possess, all of which rings with redundancy, however, each having their own value and meaning. This is the house where we are permitted to free ourselves from the concrete confines of Capricorn and the influences of the 10th house.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
The 11th house is the systematic ways of our conditioning being removed, as we glimpse at the systems responding to the laws outside of set laws which we are less aware of. In this way we learn to perceive, understand and know, and in many ways recover possessions stored away from us, as this is the 10th house from the 2nd. Here we find the eccentrics, the innovators, the ones who seem to operate not just on a different wavelength, but many more all simultaneously. Their mind rolling over like a dice, giving away formulas and equations steeped in the influence of the sign that sits above their 11th. These are the mental faculties active in response to the objectives and desires which we seek to be answered. Here is where one can reach, attain, and enter, as one has learned the laws and limited rigidness of the material in the 10th house, but becomes aware of the systems which operate within each law to keep them relevant. The advent of the cosmic winds, which inspire the mind to seek the power of attaining everything, which is one of the 8 superhuman faculties, otherwise known as siddhis. Within this house, we find the meeting point, the communal termination of the plot of our lawful existence, in which we are allowed to deviate off the path, which brings with it the delight of discovery and observation of the functions behind the sacred. This house gives imagination to the words found in the 2nd house and to the structure found in the 10th. This is where we are rescued from the mundane and gain and retrieve that which we weren't aware of before, such as the freedoms this universe allows and the delight and spirit gained from that. The point in which the smoky illusion of Rahu is used by the native to recreate the world and Maya around them, as they traverse and design the gridwork macrosystems and the connection within each one. In this house, Saturn plays the role of the destabilizer, as the role of Saturn in the ordering and strict governance of the 10th house distributes itself through the connective cosmic systems and grid networks. In this sense, Saturn operates in the opposite way here, in the 11th house than it does in the 10th, as here Saturn increases rather than restricts. The increase is experienced through achievements and goals, mass social groups and web-like economies, as the freedom experienced is designed to re-inseminate oneself back into the collective experience of the 12th house.
Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say, who murdered 3. Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in
Sip from the cup of the eternal and set free the confines of the mind. Rebellion is abound. Because of the lack of the rigid and structured bureaucracy, the 11th house is the house of the numeric remainder that didn't fit into the equation's outcome. As a result of this, the illusion of control is revealed to be just that, an illusion. Suddenly, the fear and restriction enforced in the house before the 11th dissipates in front of those who experience this house and its true potential. As this is the house of service and marks humanity, and works on the mental plane through the third ray of active intelligence, this house goes against the establishment of the laws and etheric programs, as the fixed airy space provided by this house is explored and deciphered. The reason this is allowed is so the independent strings of information, which weren't compiled back into the cosmic system, eventually re-inseminate themselves, especially when Saturn is exalted in the natal chart. However, before this comes anarchy, though not always in the literal sense. Here, the agora of rebellion takes many conceptual schools of thought, from science to art, to how we affiliate with social economic groups and mass gatherings. The traditional dividends are replaced with quirky and eccentric ones, leading to new schools of thought and concepts otherwise regulated by the influences of the 10th house. In the 11th house, we are allowed to question our creation and our creator, with the full tools for evaluation found within the prior houses in the natal chart.
Let me give you a little inside information about God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. Think about it. He gives man instincts. He gives you this extraordinary gift, and then what does he do? I swear, for his own amusement, his own private cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition. It's the goof of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, don't swallow. And while you're jumping from one foot to the next, what is he doing? He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist. He's an absentee landlord. Worship that? Never.
So rebel and rebel again. The 11th house is the house of eccentric sanity, dwelling amongst the insane and superficial vanity. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.